Today I'm going to be fishing on the Mere again, Heatley Mere. Not been out carp fishing this year yet. This is the first session of the year then. Hopefully we get something. Not 100% sure, it's not looking very carpy at the minute, but you never know. Our luck might be in. Run you through some of the rigs that I'm using and do a bit of blogging throughout the session. Hopefully we catch something. You guys will be the first to know if we do. Fishing a spot just off of the point, just out there. So in between the 2 points, just where that stump is that you can see, just there. Just fishing into them. 18.5 wraps out on the wrapping sticks. So I know that I'm going to be fishing in there at night because there's not a lot of horizon to aim for at night, so you've literally got the peak of the tree just about, and then you're punting your cast through into a black hole, so you need to be clipped up, otherwise you're going to struggle to hit the spot again, and if we catch something we want to be straight back on that spot. So that's just a little deep hole there. It's about, it goes from 2-3 foot down to 6-7 foot there. So it's a deep hole that's produced fish for me before. I've had a lot of fish from there. Hoping that I can do that again today, but we'll see. I'll show you where my other rod is in just a second. But that's the first spot of the day. Right, okay, run you through the first rig that I'm going to be using today. And that's just simple hair rig with a quarter crank hook. See, I prefer the crank hooks. Like, a lot of people have their own sort of special hook that they'll use, and it's always their banker hook and their favourite hook. But with me, it's got to be the quarter crank. I just love the gape that it's got. It's a weird shaped hook, to be honest with you, when you look at it in the packet. But when you get it on the hair rig, it just falls nicely, and you'll see that without anything, any tubing or anything, that hook point's always down, and it's ready to nail them in the bottom lip. Not fishing it any special way, no KD rig, no nothing, just straight through on the hair with the hair on the back of the hook, just tied with a knotless knot through to the tail rubber, just to kick it out so it doesn't tangle on the cast, with a quick chain swivel underneath there, so I can take it off, put a new one on with a sharp hook straight away if I catch something. But it's the hook bait here that's a little bit different. That's just standard, obviously, with my crank hook. The hook bait, what I've done is I've got a CC Moore live system here, and I've drilled out the centre, just popped a bit of cork in there. See, I don't have a drill, so what I've done is just used a pair of scissors, used the sharp end, gone round the inside of the boilie slowly. Don't do it too fast because you'll end up cracking the boilie and you just have to do another one. But yeah, it's a bottom bait boilie, but with a bit of cork in it, which will critically balance it, and I just want it to be on the hair, just above, so that when the fish comes in and muddies it up, moves it around, it's just natural, it's free, it's moving around like all the other boilies on the bottom, but with the hook flat on the bottom, so that when it does pick it up, boom, it's nailed straight away. So that's the first rig I'm going to be using, with a little bit of a different angle to just a normal bottom bait rig, which I catch on here quite a lot. So if this doesn't work, I'll be going back to that, and I'll just be putting that straight through on the hook. I won't be straight through on the hair even. I won't be putting any cork in it, but it's sort of like a balance wafter for people that don't want to spend the money for a balance wafter, really. So that's rig number 1, and I'll run you through the next rig. Alright, so rig number 2, stiff hinge rig. absolutely lethal, and on a lot of venues it's pretty much the same as a chod rig, but just gives you that freedom to be able to cast it onto firmer surfaces. Really, it's like the chod's used in when it's snaggy or very silty, and this one's just for when you're fishing a little bit firmer and you don't want to go with a chod and you want quality presentation. So you've got a, it's not stiff, but it's not too flexible. I don't like having mine too flexible. Boom section, which is just, I've used the soft end trap, the quarter soft end trap, and it runs down to a ring swivel where it's looped on. It's not tied on with like a grinner knot or anything like that, it's just looped on because you want it to be able to move freely. You want that ring swivel to be able to go wherever it wants to, really, because it'll always be presented. You don't have to worry about putting your grinner knot on there and casting it and it not being able to swivel around and move about. So that's connected to the chod, to just a chod rig. Little stiff rigor mortis, just with a slight kink with a size 6 choddy, topped off with a cell pop up. Probably be changing that to a brighter colour like a white or a yellow, just because it's coming out of winter now. We're still in winter technically, and you want to go visual baits. You want them to be able to, because they're not going to be feeding. They're not going to be feeding down on a section of bait. They're going to be split feeding, so they're sort of feeding short periods. They'll come in, they'll clear out a bit of bait, and they'll disappear. And that could be you missed your chance. So a stiff hinge rig just allows me to put a bright pop up on, have it sat there, and just get a bite. Try and provoke a bite early, provoke a bite quick, and I can also cast this around at showing fish, so I don't have to sit in the one spot all night, all day and all night. I'll be able to move around, just cast at some showing fish and hopefully pick up a quick bite. So that's rig number 2, stiff hinge rig. Right, so the second spot is just off to the left of the first point, and you'll see that there's a stick just there that's in the water with a bit of reflector tape on the top of it, and that's just from an angler that's popped that there so you can rebait up and fish to that stick. But what I've done today is I've come back about 6 foot, about 6-7 foot off of that stick. Well, I say a rod length, yeah, a rod length off. And I'm just fishing just off of the spot, because I've fished to that stick quite a lot before and I've had no joy on it. So I'm going to try dropping back, and then if I get no bites I'm going to drop back again. I'm just going to keep dropping my rigs closer to me than to the stick, to be honest. We'll see what happens with that rod as well. But that's the second spot. It's a bit of a chancer, really. It's not like I've not caught fish from it before, so I'm trying something new. Hopefully I can get something off it, but we will see. much yet. Been here about 4 hours now, 4 or 5 hours. Nothing, not even seen a fish move. It's not looking good. But what I have done is I've completely ignored the spot on the left, and I've put both of my rods on, well, if anything's going to bank a fish, it's going to be there at that spot. So I've put both of my rods on the peak, well, in between the two peaks of the far margin. Hopefully we'll get something. I mean, they're both fishing within about 72 yards out, fishing about 4 or 5 foot away from each other. So if something moves in the area, then there's a good chance one of them will get picked up. However, you could look at it the other way and say you want to cover as much water as possible when it's winter and they're not feeding heavily in certain areas. But I just think that my best bet is in that deep little gully. So I'll put both rods on either side of it. Hopefully something happens a bit later on. I mean, it's not the easiest water during the day. I mean, it does most of the fish at night unless you're stalking. So they'll definitely move into that deeper area. It feels like it's going to be another cold one tonight, so you'd think that they'll push down into the deeper parts of the lake. So it's either this little deep gully here, or on the right towards the back of the reeds, just where that red garage is, if you can see it on the house. Against them reeds at the back there, it's quite deep there, so they'll push into either side. So hopefully something happens on this swim anyway. We've got some coots diving down there, which is a little bit annoying. But they've not touched any of they've not touched my hook baits yet. Fishing quite a tight line, but not all the way through to the lead, just semi slack, or semi tight, sorry. So hopefully something rips off in the evening or over the night, and it's not a bream. Keep you informed anyway. Fingers crossed for me, eh? Well, good morning. Managed one last night at, it's about 9:30. Couldn't film it in the dark because the camera's not very good in the dark. Managed to get a few pictures of it, which I'll put up after this so you can have a look at it. Yeah, it was freezing last night, absolutely freezing. I'm quite happy that I managed one though. I would have sacked it, but because I had it at 9:30, I didn't want to leave it in the sack until first light. It's just a bit too long. You don't want to be leaving a fish in a sack for like 6 hours or something like that. But yeah, nothing since then. Nothing this morning. I'm going to reposition the rods. I think I might. The sun's starting to come out now, so I might put a 2 foot and a 3 foot zig on and just cast them around and see if I can nick a quick bite before I leave. But if not, we've had a fish. That'll do. A couple of fish moving over the spot actually. But anyway, I said I'd keep you updated. I had one last night. Show you the pictures after this. About £14 mirror, which will do. So we hope we can nick something in the last few hours, to be honest. Something I did forget to mention in that little log was that I had it on the hinge stiff rig that I moved from the left point of the island, of the point, into that gully on the left hand side. So both rods were in that gully. One was on the right, one was on the left, and it was the hinge stiff rig on the left that did the fish. So I'm pretty happy with myself that I moved that rod. Made a good decision then. I mean, there's nothing to say it might not have picked up the one on the right if the left one wasn't there, but I think that pop up on the stiff hinge rig was just too good to say no to. I've got the 2 zigs out now, one 2 foot, one 3 foot. But the 2 foot one just on the left where the lily pads used to be. What I've done is I've just cast it into the middle there, because I know that they used to patrol up and down there, and they'll still patrol up and down there now, but you don't want to be putting a bottom bait into all that. So the zig seems like it should be alright. I don't mind if the lead's buried in the mess of the lily pads dead on the bottom, as long as the zig line's above it, fishing 3 foot above it, you know, there's no problem with that. So I'm trying to nick a quick bite before I go. I'm not going to give it much longer. Got to get home, got stuff to do. Yeah, I'm feeling quite confident now. The sun's warming it up quite a lot, so the chance of them moving into the warmer layers of the water is quite high, considering it was so cold last night and it's been so cold. So hopefully they move up and I can tempt them with the zigs. I got one with brown on white, brown foam with a white zig liner on it, and I've just dipped that in a king crab, the Corda-goo king crab. Just get a bit of attractant on there, just get a quicker bite. And the other one is on yellow and black, which is a popular one. Dip that in Almond Supreme and just whack both of them out until you'll see. Not a lot moving. Well, I mean, the coots are moving over the spot that I was on last night, which might be why one of my bobbins was raised up in the morning. Let's see what happens, eh? A little bit of excitement in the last hour. I've just been standing watching the water, and this patch of reeds in front of me is just knocked. It's definitely not the wind. It was quite a substantial knock. So I got up the tree just next to me. I just had a look over into this little patch here, and there's actually a carp in there, just nosing its way around through these lily pads, through these reeds. Sorry. So what I've done is I've positioned a rod just on the corner of the reeds, but it's super slack lined so that all my line's on the bottom, and just a couple of crushed up live system boilies, just to try and draw it out of these reeds here. And it's something's kicking up the bottom, so we might be on for a fish. I'm not going to jinx it by saying we're going to have it, but it's definitely down there. It's definitely come out of the reeds, and hopefully it picks up my hook bait. It's really mudding up that spot down there. I'd be well surprised if we didn't have a run soon. Got half battery left on the camera, so I think I'm just going to leave it running on the rod in the hope that it goes. We might actually get a bite on camera. Well, that's carp fishing for you. Absolutely gutted. I don't quite know what's happened there. Been done. Carp muddying up that spot. I left the camera rolling, and within 10 minutes it screamed off. I don't know whether it's spooked off my line and it's just been it's just swam into my line, or that's my chance missed. Ah. Well, I don't know quite what to say. Annoying. I can't actually work out what happened. Hook sharp, got it here. Hook sharp as anything. I mean, the only thing I can think is that the fish felt the line, spooked off it, and made a bolt for it, and just ran straight into the line. Took it out like a run would, and I've hit into it because I thought there was a fish on. To be honest, could feel it, and then nothing. About a 2-second fight. So makes me think that it might have swam into the line. Obviously, I've struck into the line, and it's come passed over the fish. Or it could have picked it up and just shook the bait. I mean, it's carp fishing, that's what happens. You're not going to win them all. Just gutted. And that's the end of the session. I'm going to pack down the brolly, and then I'm off back home. I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Got to see me lose a fish anyway, it's always good to laugh at. Don't forget to check out some of our other videos. A lot going on in the channel and the Facebook group all the time. Hopefully I'll either be back down here or somewhere new next, because I'm starting to catch the same fish over and over again, and it's getting to the point now where I've had quite a few. What I'll do at the end of this video is I'll show you some of the fish that I've had last summer just gone. Had quite a lot of the stock that's in here, pretty much everything that's worth catching, apart from one speculation of a fish that might be bigger, but I've not seen it, so yeah, I'll show you a little slideshow of some of the fish that I've had. If you're looking at maybe coming to fish this water, then it's always nice to see what's in here. And that's me done. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you on the next session.